Thank you so much, Senator Markey. I'm just, today is just such a wonderfully momentous and joyous day. And, pardon? Speak up? You got it. Today's such a wonderfully momentous and joyous day. Sorry, I've got some hair in my mouth going on here. I mean, I first want to start off by thanking so many of the people and reiterating that gratitude that Senator Markey has already expressed to him as a legislative partner, you know, and also to all of our legislative partners that are here today, the OGs that were original co-sponsors at the beginning, our new recruits in the fight for environmental, social, and economic and racial justice. This legislation and our future does not move forward without you all. And I wanted to underscore that because a lot has happened since we introduced this resolution 2 years ago. And when we introduced that resolution 2 years ago, every single member that was here and co-sponsored this legislation took a risk. And Senator Markey, first and foremost, took an enormous risk. And he did it for us. He did it for our planet. To take a risk working with a first-term congresswoman, co-sponsoring enormous legislation that is huge in scope, not because it's the convenient thing to do, but because it was the right thing to do. Because for so long, our movement towards a sustainable future has been divided with really just this false notion that we have to choose between our planet and our economy. And we decided to come together in sweeping legislation that not only rejects that notion, but creates a plan for 20 million union jobs in the United States of America, to rebuild our infrastructure, to restore public housing, to make sure that we expand our access not only to EV and EV infrastructure, but mass transit. Everything from coast-to-coast chargers to making sure that we have an Amtrak, a resilient Amtrak infrastructure to the New York City subway system. It is going to be an all-hands-on-deck approach, and we refuse to leave any community behind in the process. Not only do we refuse to leave any community behind, but those who have been left behind come first. We refuse to allow, for example, an economy that goes from oil barons to solar barons. That's what we're not going to do. Because what we're going to do is that we're going to transition to a 100% carbon-free economy that is more unionized, more just, more dignified, and guarantees more healthcare and housing than we ever have before. That's our goal. That's the goal of a Green New Deal. What we're going to do is going to make sure that communities like Flint, Baltimore, the South Bronx, St. Louis, rural communities whose infrastructure was never properly built in the first place are first in line to rectify the injustices of the past, to make sure that they get everything that they need to thrive in the future. That's what a Green New Deal is all about. And so in these last 2 years, what has happened? What has occurred since the introduction of the Green New Deal? How has it been impactful? Well, a lot has happened. One is that over a dozen pieces of legislation have been introduced in the House of Representatives, most recently the Civilian Climate Corps and Representative Cori Bush's Green New Deal for Cities have recently been introduced. We also have an Agricultural Resilience Act from Chellie Pingree. We have the Green New Deal for Public Housing, the Build Green Act, the EV Freedom Act. Many pieces of legislation have been introduced adopting the Green New Deal framework of jobs and justice to decarbonize our economy. And not only have they been introduced, but elements have already passed the House. Last year, repeal of the Faircloth Amendment, which would end our decades-long ban on construction of new public housing in the United States, passed the House of Representatives. We also had an enormous amount of new and additional... Hello. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. We also have dozens of new and additional pieces of legislation that adopt a Green New Deal framework that ensures that we can make sure that we create millions of jobs in the United States and advance the cause of racial and social justice. The Green New Deal also, importantly, recognizes the systemic cause of climate change. Because while climate change is a planetary crisis, it is not caused by an environmental or random, it does not have a random or environmental genesis. It's not just human caused, it's societally caused. The climate crisis is a crisis born of injustice, and it is a crisis born of the pursuit of profit at any and all human and ecological cost.
That's right.
Which means that we must recognize in legislation that the trampling of indigenous rights is a cause of climate change. The trampling of racial justice is a cause of climate change, because we are allowing people and we are allowing ourselves to make sure, we are allowing folks to deny ourselves human rights and deny people the right to health care, the right to housing and education. So I'm so thrilled. Again, I'm so thankful to each of our record high level of congressional co-sponsors. We are now at 103 House co-sponsors for the Green New Deal in the U.S. House of Representatives. And we have our allies here today: Jared Huffman, Cori Bush, Juan Vargas, Kai Kahele, Jan Schakowsky, John Larson, Tom Swazi, Sarah Jacobs, Lloyd Doggett. Am I missing anybody? Oh, we got Earl Blumenauer. Got Earl Blumenauer. And we're so incredibly excited to have all of them here today. And of course, our grassroots and community activists for whom this legislation would not exist and would not have the momentum without. We have Ellen Ciales of Sunrise, Kari Fulton of Climate Justice Alliance, and Judith Howell of 32 BJ. We're so thankful, and we'll continue that on as well. So thank you all so much, and I'll hand it back to Senator Markey. Oh, and we've got Alex Padilla as well. Yeah. Thank you so much. Hello, Senator Padilla. Sorry, I missed you back there. Alex. Welcome. Yes, and I'll hand it off to you, Senator Padilla. Thank you.